Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Lunar Sessions. I have my very, very favorite friend as my next guest, Al. Hey, Al.
Hey, what's up?
Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so happy to have you on. I've been waiting for Women's Month.
Thanks so much for asking me.
No, we're going to have so much to talk about. I'm so excited for everybody to meet you and just to get in touch because I haven't seen you at all. So
I know it's been so long.
So everybody, just a little bit of an intro to Al. So when I started my career in this world, I used to intern at Universal Music, and Josie, the lady I used to work for at Universal, used to say to me, Tam, you must go and take this CD and you must put it into Al's pigeonhole because he works for People magazine and he's a writer for People magazine. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so exciting. And I was so excited. And then when I used to work for Melissa Conradi, she was like, you need to go drop off these CDs at Al. And I was like, this is so exciting. Like, I'm really moving up in the world. And then I even remember I did a job interview once and they were like, where are you going to pitch this story to? And like, you were the one person that was in my mind. I'm like, Al. So then, when time had passed and you and I were at a listening session, I think it was for the Shawn Mendes album. And
yes,
you and I got talking. And I mean, we had obviously crossed paths, but I think we opened up to each other and you found out our anxiety. I found out I had anxiety and you were like, soulmate.
Do you know, it was so bizarre because our stories really correlated at that time, which was like really interesting. I know for me, like anxiety wasn't something I really like focused on or really sort of unpacked. But that chat with you really sort of cleared my head with exactly what's going on in my head. And that on top of the music, on top of everything else we have in common, you know, it really was a soulmate moment.
It really was. And I think we just like completely, I think it was like no turning back from then. And then we'd see each other at more events. And it's just been like, my heart just gets so happy when I see you. And I think a lot of people feel that way because you're just such an awesome human being. But I'm so excited about all the things that you're doing at the moment. And I just wanted to get you on because I think you're such an important and influential person in our industry. And I think you've got a lot of wisdom to share. And I also want people to know about all the cool things you're doing because I think with this platform you've created, which we'll get into now, I think it's going to be huge. And I really am very excited to be one of the first people to talk about it.
Okay. You know, it feels so good to hear that stuff because like you don't often think about that, you know, being influential or whatever. Like I certainly don't see myself as an influential character in sort of this entertainment industry, but you know, hearing it from other people, like it could have sort of makes you think like, oh, okay, cool, maybe, you know, maybe people do see some value in all this commotion that's happening around me.
But I think that's what makes it so special and makes you even more influential is because you are so humble, you're so down to earth, but you've got proper, I think the word's interpersonal relationships with everybody in the industry. And
right.
And I think that's what makes it a difference. There's no like pretentiousness. It's like you have a genuine friend with the people you work with.
Yeah. There's no space for it. You mean, you know the ins and outs of this industry. It's all about those relationships, essentially. If you don't have those relationships, you actually have nothing to offer, unfortunately. So it really is all about that.
Exactly. So I've spoken a lot about you, but I just want everybody to know exactly what it is that you do and your journey so far so you can give a bit of background into who you are.
Okay, sure. So I guess like after varsity, where I studied a marketing communication degree, you know, after you finish your degree, I knew honors wasn't for me. Firstly, I was like, no, definitely don't want to do honors. But then I was like, okay, cool, where to now? And unfortunately, you know, you're stuck at that place where so many jobs you do apply for need that experience, but in the same breath you have none because you've just left varsity, and it's such a weird cycle.
Like which comes first, or the egg?
Yeah, exactly. But luckily, you know, I'm privileged enough to have gotten an internship at Heat magazine because I knew Jessica Levitt and Andre Nevelin just from around and social media. So they were sort of my in there, which was really great. And again, luckily I was privileged enough to be able to work there for free. I literally did not get paid a single cent, petrol, nothing. But that place really sort of threw me headfirst into just sort of this whole entertainment industry from a media side of things, which was really interesting. I had like been doing a little bit of blogging before, and music has always been my passion. So that was always happening on the side. But I think once I started getting into like this heat sort of environment where things are so chaotic, like the newsroom is hectic, and it just sort of threw me into the deep end there. It was really a great learning experience for me, and I sort of fell in love with writing. I think everyone who knows me from high school, especially my teachers, if I told them that I'd be a journalist, they'd be like, lol, okay. I don't see that part happening. But I really did fall in love with it. And that's where I sort of really taught myself the ins and outs of the English language, I guess, that we take for granted, grammar, even like spelling different parts of the world and all of that stuff. And I really put my heart and soul into Heat. I was under the leadership of Melinda Shaw, who was editor at the time. And like, she was just like, she's an incredible woman. She was super daunting. I think as a fresh-faced young man, I was like, whoa. Also like I knew the history of the magazine, the Heat Hot 100s and all of the scandalous stuff that they used to do at the time. But I really threw myself headfirst into that, and unfortunately got to the part where after 6 months, I'm like, cool, hire me or I'm out.
Yeah.
Essentially. And unfortunately, there was no position. So I did leave. And then I think 1 or 2 months later, I got an internship at David Gresham Records.
Oh, okay.
Which was super. Yeah, it was super interesting. I've known, Andrew Mitchley from there for a while beforehand. So it was, again, just, I guess that whole connection, interpersonal relationships that you were chatting about earlier just sort of got me that next step. Unfortunately, that didn't last long, because I then applied for the entertainment editor role at People magazine, which I honestly did not think I had a shot at all. I had, besides for Heat 6 months, I had absolutely no experience. But Andrea Cackness, the editor there, really believed in me, and she really saw something in me, and she took me on, and she groomed me like into who I am today. Really, I have so much respect and admiration for her. And I was there for about 2 years, which was really fun, because that's when I really got to meet a whole bunch of people. I attended more events. I learned the industry. I learned, and introduced myself to people from other media, which was really great, and really solidified myself in the sort of media space as sort of a journalist to watch, in the sense that I really put my heart and soul into delivering quality stories. It was quite nice that it was a bit more uplifting stuff than the content at Heat magazine at the time, which was a bit more scandalous, obviously, and very sassy. And then, I was there for 2 years, just over actually. And then we had that awkward chat where it was like, okay, cool, where do we go from here? Like, I was itching, ready to grow. And she told me, there's really, unfortunately, nothing here for you to grow into. But we had a few chats after that, and, she also inspired me to then start my own something, which then became my PR agency, the Platinum Club. Luckily, she really... But it's so funny how things happen, because without her, and her giving me the freedom to continue writing on a freelance basis while building up my own agency, I don't think that I would be where I am today. And it's so interesting that, like, you come across someone like that who really believes in you, and wants you to flourish more than sort of keeping you on because they trust you and whatever, and seeing that potential in me was really great. Because, to be honest, if I didn't have that income from the freelance writing for the first, even let's say 2-3 years, I probably wouldn't have been able to continue with that project. And then here I am today, a few years later. Obviously, People closed down this year, which was really terrible.
I'm so sad.
Yeah, it was quite a moment. I think for so many journalists as well, but it is what it is, I guess. I mean, it's super sad, but you got to look forward, right?
But I think that that's such a theme that is happening and has happened in your career, because when Andrea probably was like, listen, there's no place for you to grow, I'm sure that would have been discouraging for anybody, because you wanted to go into journalism, and you were given this opportunity to build a company, and instead of getting sad about it, you grew from it. And now similarly,
well, it wasn't. Do you know that conversation wasn't even discouraging? It was actually really refreshing, because I appreciated someone being honest like that with me. I'd rather, her be upfront and be like, listen, this is the story. I believe in you. Go do something bigger and better. Rather than, her just lying or pretend or, keeping me on or whatever, just so if she sugarcoated it, maybe I wouldn't have left. And, who knows where I would be right now. But things happen for a reason. Yeah.
Be cruel to be kind, and I think that's also a big thing I'm learning at the moment.
Yeah, but it wasn't even a cruel thing though. It was literally just it was really such a heartwarming moment, because I've never had someone. Yeah, I haven't had someone just be like so for me, if you know what I mean.
That's amazing, and and I think that you're also somebody who's like that, and I think you're carrying on her. I don't know if the word is legacy, but her.
Well, yeah, she taught me everything I know, right?
And now you and I have had conversations, and you've helped me. You've been a mentor to me. Others, Dion, the lady I work with, everybody, she's mentored me. It's so important to have a good mentor that really does believe in you and your best interest.
Exactly. And I think once you form a relationship with someone, you should be chatting about the industry, and especially you and I do pretty similar work in the terms of PR and in the PR space. So bouncing ideas off from one another only helps us grow as agencies.
Yes. So now that People is unfortunately no longer, I know what you're doing, but I want you to tell everybody this exciting news that you're busy with.
Okay, cool. So basically, once People closed down, I was like, okay, cool. What happens now? Obviously, with COVID and this lockdown, I found myself with so much more time on my hands. And I am one of those people who, when I am not busy, I feel I'm unproductive, which is such a toxic mindset, but that's a conversation for another day.
I'll have you on next week for that conversation.
We'll get into that. So then I was like, okay, cool. Since I left People magazine, or actually even just before, I had started an online platform under my own name, broide.com.
Just wait, repeat the surname. Because it's broke up. Broide. Everybody, it's Broide.
Not Broide.
Not Broide. Not Broide. Exactly. It's Broide.
Got it, everyone.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
But yes, so that was been really cool, because I started putting all the stuff that I wouldn't write for People onto that platform, and started creating something that really started getting a lot of traction. Also, I really fell in love with writing, which again, people from school would be like where.
Yeah.
So that was pretty interesting. So it gave that outlet, and also, I wrote about topics that I'm super passionate about. My music, entertainment in general. If I, encountered a brand that really inspired me, I used to write about that. But when People closed down, I was like, okay, cool. I feel like I had sort of plateaued with that platform. Also, you compare yourself to sort of similar sites and competitor sites and whatever, and see what they're doing, because market research is super important, right? And then I sort of felt like I had plateaued. So I was like, okay, cool. I need to start this new kind of brand that I can really take this to the next level. I felt that people struggle to connect to my brand, which is was under my name, because it's not the Harry Potter that you hear all the time. It's obscure with my Mediterranean heritage, I guess. So I was like, okay, cool. I sat and started throwing ideas around with a few people, and I didn't want this new platform to be something completely different, but I still wanted to be a bit more broad, in the sense that I can speak about more topics, a bit more, expand my brand into a bit more lifestyle content. And that's where the House of Pop sort of, came to life. Technology, right?
Sorry for the technical difficulties. Okay, so you were saying that you launched House of Pop last month. Okay, continue.
So I launched it last month, and it's just been like a really exciting sort of, space to get into and a new journey. And I really feel like this brand is needed, especially, after so much media closed down during lockdown. 21 magazines closed down since March, which is wild. Like, it's wild.
That's hectic. Oh gosh,
21, yeah.
It's so sad. Yeah, you were saying?
But I felt like, you need, like, especially us as PR agencies, we need media. So I thought, let me take my platform that I already have to the next level with the rebrand. And, let's make it amazing, and let's make it a place where, people come and get their fix, I guess, because all of our sites that we know and love are now no longer there.
Yeah.
And also, I want to do something for the local entertainment industry. That's always been my thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, I want to support up and coming artists. I want to, chat to like people and share their stories. And it's such an important like part of our community to have something like that. I know there are other platforms, obviously, but the more the merrier.
Completely. And I think that's also, as you were saying, it's a struggle as a PR agent or a publicist to now, when there's such limited resources now to promote what our artists or our clients are doing. And now that you've introduced this platform, which I think it's such a beautiful name, it's such a beautiful concept, brand, everything. And I really think it is the essence of who you are. And I think, like, thank you. I just want to say thank you for creating another platform, because it was getting scary out here. So
well, I know how needed it is. That's the thing. So that's why I guess when I had this time in lockdown, I'm like, no, let's do something, let's do some good. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But at the end of the day, it's a platform for me to, really push local music and entertainment and even lifestyle content, chat about restaurants and, other places that I'm really interested in visiting, and just share my experiences. And if I make money off it one day, fantastic. And if not, then it is what it is.
Exactly. Well, I'm so proud of you, and I'm so excited for you, and I've been telling everybody about it, and I can't wait to see all my people on your platform, because I think, all of them, I remember whenever I get an artist and I'm saying, okay, cool, Al's keen to cover it, they get so excited. And that's what I mean. You are influential, and you're such an important part of our industry. So thank you for taking your platform to the next level, because it's like, we appreciate it.
You see, that's stuff that like I don't ever see or hear about, which is really interesting. But every now and again, I do get an artist reach out to me and be like, listen, I would like your honest opinion about this release that I've got out, or whatever. Would you be keen on featuring it? Can we chat about it? Whatever. And that's like where it becomes really reassuring, that I am making a difference in my own weird way.
Yeah, and I love it. And I mean, I'm going to share everything that you're doing, because you're doing lots on this page. I think, as I said, the branding is like spot on. It's so cool. And sorry, got jumped off there for a second. Okay, so now we've spoken all about House of Pop and all the incredible stuff you're doing there. Now you also, on top of this, you have a PR agency called the Platinum Club.
Yes.
So tell us about that, and tell us about all the magical work you do there.
Okay, cool. So the Platinum Club started off in such a weird place, because I had just had that chat with Andrea at People Magazine, and I was sort of like, okay, cool. Happy where I am for now, but now what is the next step? I need to sort of think forward and find a new path for where I want to go, I guess, in my career. So I was chatting to Leroy, my business partner, and he was at 947 at the time, and we were just chatting about, cool, what can we do, whatever. And they're like, let's just start a PR agency. Like, how difficult can it be? Like, I can write the press releases. We can just pitch to everyone we know in the industry. And like, we know a lot of people, we go to the same events as them all the time. So how difficult could it actually be? Turns out it's quite difficult.
You're doing it.
Yeah, I threw myself in the super deep end. But I persevered. Warner Music was our first client, which is really amazing, because I am in love with that record label and the brand. And I still work with them today, which is really, really, really amazing. So then, we just started building and growing. We started off with celebrity PR, because that was my space when I was there. You know, worked with Tando Tabete back in the day, Ko Modiadie, and then sort of started veering away from that as we started to grow and learn our business and what we want to achieve. And now we work with some really cool brands. You know, we work with Clover and Tropica on Island of Treasure. We work with Air France and KLM Royal Dutch Airlines, which is amazing. You know, we've worked with someone like Croc City, which is a bit more on the travel side, as well as someone like Silver Star Casino. We used to work with Goliath Comedy Club. So we've had some really cool clients in the past.
Yeah.
And now I guess with that I have a bit more time on my hands, we sort of started to reintroduce the celebrity PR element of the business, which has been also really exciting because now we work with celebrities who we really identify with rather than just sort of opening our doors to, you know, just anyone, please come and hire us.
Yeah.
So now we have like, you know, quite an interesting pitching process where when we do approach people. Yeah, and that's been like amazing because now we're more professional in our career. You know, it's been 5 or 6 years since we've done celebrity PR. So going back into that now, and me coming from sort of the entertainment media landscape, I know exactly what media is looking for. I know how to create relevant content for them.
And that's key. It's so key.
Yeah, no, it's super key. Like I see, and I know this is not a platform to chat the ins and outs of the PR industry, but so many press releases that I get, I'm like, now this is such a wasted opportunity because this press release gives me nothing. So I've deleted it and that's it, done.
No, but I mean, as you say, this platform is to talk about anything. It is your platform. This is what I've created. Like, and I agree. There's a lot of stuff that we do or that we get or that I see in the industry. It's cut and paste, and it's generic. And people are not generic. People are interesting. They're different. They're complicated. And you have to know what it is what stories they cover. And you've got to know these people on a personal basis, because it just adds that special touch. And that's why the events that we go to, I believe, are so important to network, build relationships, and maintain those relationships. I think that's
even with the media, just to understand exactly what they're looking for in a press release. I know today I still get like 20, 30 press releases a day almost. And if I put up 5 stories on my site today, for argument's sake, that's 25 stories that are essentially going to waste that day. Or not necessarily going to waste, but they haven't captured my attention enough that day. So what are they doing wrong? And that's where I can sort of see what media wants, but also what client wants in the terms of, you know, bringing through that information in a relevant way that's not super, you know, advertising-y or advertorial.
Or but like salesy. I think that's actually
exactly. Totally.
Conversation earlier, because you just don't want to. I mean, I think the beauty of PR, it's like word of mouth enhanced, and it's got to remain. It's got to keep that essence. It's got to keep that essence of a personal story that isn't okay. You're obliged to buy this. It's you want people to buy into the story, not, you know.
That's the thing. Form a relationship with said brand or personality, and telling those stories through a press release is difficult sometimes. That's why you have to be so meticulous in the kind of content, you know, you do send out. And I think that's where the Platinum Club really gets it right, is, you know, we understand sort of how to tell a story in a way that connects with readers and journalists and ticks all the client's boxes. And that's essentially what a good PR agency strives to achieve.
I agree completely.
Yeah.
Okay, so a question I do have. So a lot of people, there's that statement, jack of all trades, master of none. Now, I'm somebody like you who has got my fingers in every pie. I like to get involved in so many different projects. I'm a singer. I wouldn't say I'm an influencer, but I'm in the influencer space. And I work in PR, and I love what I do in every aspect of it. And I always get asked, which one are you going to go with? So do you believe that you can only really go into one stream or one industry or one avenue? Or do you believe that it is possible to, as long as you're passionate and remain passionate, you can do anything?
Yeah, I think there's some like sort of, you know, truth in that statement, but you know, you have to, like, it doesn't mean you must only do one thing. You can pick 2 or 3, avenues that you're super passionate about, as I've done, as you've done, and work towards, achieving that goal. It's obviously important to not waste time and resources on things that will sort of spark and fizzle, if you know what I mean.
Completely.
So that's why with regards to House of Pop and the Platinum Club, I sort of use them as sort of a combined added value sort of benefit for my clients, which I'm obviously super transparent about. Cool, this is my site. I'll obviously share everything that we're working on there. Well, not everything, but things that are relevant, because I obviously work with the brand because I believe in the brand and the message. With regards to everything else, as long as you are passionate about it and you put the work in, but that you see sort of a reward. I mean, if I'm pushing, for example, say I want to become an accountant and I'm doing accounting by as a hobby now, but it doesn't get there, then I would give the advice to, take a step back, focus on the things that you are good at and that you are making a difference in. And then sort of pursue that.
I think, with everybody that I've interviewed, I've selected everybody very particularly because
I was like, please ask me to be involved, please.
But everybody's got a place on this platform that I put on is because they inspire me, and I believe that everybody that's been on so far and will be on are people that are doing really cool things. I believe are successful or very much on the route to success. But what I've noticed and what's been so cool is the trend is passion. And I've been told so many times, no, man, you must make money first. Don't follow your passion. If you make money first, you'll get the passion later. And I'm like, I don't agree. And I've had arguments. And here you again, another person to prove my point that if you do something with passion, it will succeed. If you follow your heart.
I'm not going to lie to you. Every person has their doubts. I've had many doubts about my online platform, where I'm like, is this even worth it? Am I just wasting my time? Especially now, I think with launching the House of Pop, I'm like, okay, cool. Why do I want to do this? Because I could just leave the other site as is, post here and there when I want to, and then focus on, I just lost Keep Magazine. It's still some income that comes in that now I have lost, as many people have during this unfortunate time, I guess. So I'm like, cool, why am I focusing my energy right now on something that essentially isn't going to bring me money, but also going to take away a lot of my time? And that's where it comes across as that, but if it's something you're passionate about, it's never a waste of time, right? So,
If you ever need a pep talk, I'll give you a pep talk, because I think you must do it, because I do believe that it could make money. Because if you put passion, you're driving it in that way and it's coming from the right place, and I do believe you're doing it for the right reasons, and I think you have the right mind for it. I do think that this thing could turn into something that is financially rewarding, and that's not a bad thing, because we do need to pay our bills at the end of the day, and our time needs to be covered, essentially.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I've sort of made a pact with myself that I'm not doing the House of Pop for money. I've got the Platinum Club. I, like you, have my finger in multiple pies. So we don't get bored with our lives.
Yes.
So essentially, this is like a hobby of mine. I do genuinely love writing and analyzing about popular culture. So if that's my downtime and people can entertain themselves through the content that I put out there, it's a win for everyone. And once I took that pressure off me, everything sort of just became super clear.
And it's, I can relate to that on so many levels. A lot of people, I actually had somebody ask me, so do you do music full time? I was like, I would be very poor if I was doing music full time. But I love my PR work. I have such a passion for it, and I really do believe it's my purpose, and I love it so much. But I make money from that. My music, it would be nice if I got money more to pay for the product that I have to create, the producer, the photo shoot, the platforms, and that type of stuff. But if I never made a profit from music, I actually would be okay, because I'm just so, it's just something I love doing, and I want to give back.
That's the thing. I've spoken to a few people about a vicious industry I believe the radio industry is, because people come and go so quickly and whatever. But you know, I've spoken to people who are in radio and they're like, but oh, you don't understand. Like, we are so in love with this medium. And then I'm like, no, I do understand, because as much as it's not the same medium, like like I've got my medium. And they were like, no, like if we could, we would just do this for free, even whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. Like, I would also do this for free, and I am doing it for free. And that's what it's about. Like, it's really like, it's my hobby.
Yeah.
Some people go mountain biking. Gina goes hiking.
Yeah.
I sit at my laptop.
But you still have to come on a hike with us. Like, it has to happen. But I agree, and like, it is so important to have something that feeds your soul and that you feed it. Yeah. And again, I think a lot of people think I'm crazy and think we are crazy for working in this industry, because I believe that there is money in it, and I believe that you can make money in it if you have a positive attitude and you have a good business mind. But I think, you know, it's that passion that's going to get you up in the day. Like, I don't feel that I work. I mean, when we were off lockdown, I was working at concerts on the weekends, and I was working late nights. I was working during the week on events, but I would see you and I'd see my friends.
I've seen you at concerts, and you like, you know, all over the show, running here, doing this.
And it's my.
But I still have time to chat to everyone and make sure everyone's okay and whatever. Like, it's awesome.
It's my best, and it's like so nice to see your familiar face in the crowd. That's probably like one of the highlights of my evening, and I like run out, and you know, it's like we're just so blessed to work in the work we do, and I'm so proud of us for following our passions. And
well, that's the thing. Like, you know, if you're working a desk job that you're not really enjoying, like, it's important to have that hobby on the side. You know, obviously work and get your, you know, secure the bag and do everything you do, but you know, it's also important to follow your passion. And if you can find a space where you can work and follow your passion at the same place, like, you'd be stupid if you don't at least go for it, right? I mean, you know, I'm sure many people have at least attempted and, you know, then realized, you know what, actually, maybe this is not the right path for me. But at least they tried it. I mean, you don't want to live with regret, you know, your whole life, because you're sitting at a desk job, you work, you know, 8 to 5, you come home, you know, cook dinner and do whatever, and that's it.
And I mean, I understand, I'm not naive to the fact that you need to make money. You have to live and you have to survive. But I think that if you can be brave enough and passionate, you know, to go and do something that you're passionate about, or at least make sure that on the side or around everything you are doing something you're passionate about. I think you have exactly. I love that. I was actually just about to say something similar. I think it's so important. So I mean, there was so many. We're running out of time now, but I'm definitely going to have you on again, because I think there's so many topics we can have. And I'm so like, this is just, I mean, lockdown has been, I think, so tough on everybody, where we have, you know, maybe lost passion, maybe we've lost a little bit of ourselves, maybe we've, you know, we've, because I mean, we're not doing what we're doing every day. And I'm so glad I've created this platform, because I can speak to people like you, and it just inspires me to go out and like, I don't know. And it's, so thank you for being on here. The last question before we go.
Thanks for this platform.
Sorry?
Shoot.
So I know we've spoken about, you've had some doubts when it comes to House of Pop, and we've spoken a little bit about our anxiety that we share. What would you say is your mental, because I do ask everybody this, what would you say is your biggest mental challenge that you face, and how do you overcome it?
People see this so clearly on me, but I'm such a people pleaser. I literally like go above and beyond to just, you know, hope people think that, oh, he's doing something successful, or, oh, you know, he's doing whatever. So I think I'm a big people pleaser. Even when people have been in my life for a long time and have now exited, I struggle to let go of relationships that I need to let go of. So it's basically that sort of anxiety that, you know, haunts, I guess, my brain. So it's all about, you know, I feel like I owe people to be my best self, where I know it's not the case, but it's easier said than done, because I owe it to myself, and that's it.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, I battle with the exact same thing. And I think it's a part of what makes us good at what we do.
Yeah, no, totally. It literally fuels my drive. So in one breath, I don't really want to change anything, but in the same breath, like, I know it can get super unhealthy. And I do try to keep myself in check. Also, I have friends who call me out, which is amazing.
That's so important. And I think to know that you don't have to always overextend yourself. That's been my biggest lesson under lockdown, is boundaries and boundaries actually, and not, and there's a beautiful podcast actually I'll share it with you, and actually everybody if they're interested. It's all about love versus people pleasing, and how you need to love people. It's a whole thing, but it's great. And I think it's important to know, okay, cool, people pleasing is essentially what we do as publicists, because we need to make sure our clients are happy, we need to make sure the media is happy, but that over and above that, we are worthy. We, especially when it comes to friends, I think friends it's really difficult, especially when they've crossed a line. So
right.
Finding that balance. And as you say,
I've had many friends who have crossed the line, and I mean, they might be watching this as well.
I hope it's not me. No, I'm joking. I always think with so much love.
No, but like, you know, it's also like, you know, I've had friends from school, for example, who have, you know, done or acted in a certain way, and me as a people pleaser potentially just stood back and not called them out on their nonsense. So, and that sort of could be something that destroyed that relationship or whatever. So like, it is really important to check people, and, you know, to give you that peace of mind and not sort of be on your toes around people all the time. Completely. Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that, and thank you for being vulnerable enough to share it, because I think it can be quite scary to do that. And well done for being so brave in everything that you're doing. I look up to you. You inspire me. I think
you inspire me.
Oh.
This is why this works so well.
Oh, sorry. What did you say?
I'm saying this is why this friendship works so well, because, you know, we are around people who inspire us to be better and do better and do, you know, push ourselves out of our comfort zones and try things and
support, fail,
and whatever.
Exactly. And I think that the industry has a reputation of being tough and cutthroat, and I'm like, yes, there is that, but I have people like you and other people in the industry, and Lee and other people, that it's just, there's love and it's support and it's encouragement, and we are inspiring each other. And I think to have that network is so valuable. It's so valuable.
When the lines blur from colleagues to friends, you know, that becomes amazing.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that a lot of people are scared of that, because you don't want to mix work with pleasure. But I think whatever we're doing is perfect.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I'm proud of us.
I'm proud of us.
I thank you so much for being on here. I think
Thanks so much for asking me.
I'll have you on again, definitely. We've got so much to talk about. But I need to see you soon as well. Like,
I know.
I love you, Matt. Sorry?
Yeah, I'm saying at the hike.
Yes, there we go, the hike. Okay, I'll believe it when I see it.
Whatever.
Love you so much. Have an amazing day. I'll see you soon.
You too. Thanks for
listening.
Bye.